And not only did we resolve that, then they're like, Ryan, oh my God, I'm sleeping better. My energy's so much better.
Wow.
My mental clarity, I don't have constant brain fog.
Yeah.
I'm not having to drink 4 or 5 coffees a day.
Sure.
I just feel like I got my life back,
Yeah.
you know, because it's all so interconnected. And that's the whole idea with holistic medicine.
Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Who Can Relate. The scenery, if you guys are watching, is always changing. And today I have the luxury of being in my guest's office, as you can see, this beautiful space. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things, primarily predicated around health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. We're going to be talking about breathwork, holistic practicing, diet, you name it. I got you covered. I know we've never really done anything like this before. So without further ado, Mr. Ryan Kennedy, welcome to Who Can Relate, man.
It's an honor to be here, man.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here with you. I really appreciate you hosting the space and just super excited again to really get into a lot of things that I've alluded to throughout the show, my Instagram, etc. I think people kind of know I'm privy to all this stuff now, but it's just great to bring a professional to really elaborate a little bit more. So a little bit more background on you. Where are you from? And how the hell did you get started with what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm from San Diego. That's where my practice is located currently, is where we're at. And I was born and raised in South Bay. And my journey into functional medicine, naturopathic medicine really came from a bit of a tragedy. You know, when I was 14, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And at the time, you know, being a young kid, didn't know much about what was going on, just knew she was sick. And, you know, she went through the modern medical system, the allopathic model for cancer treatment, which is surgery, chemotherapy, radiation.
Okay.
And, you know, I remember like yesterday, her oncologist telling her, like, this is your only option. What you eat doesn't matter. No herbs or vitamins or supplements are going to help you.
Yeah.
Take these drugs or don't do anything and die sooner. Yeah. And it was really unfortunate that she received this misinformation, because a lot of those treatments really cause not only a deterioration of your quality of life, so whatever days you have left on this planet, are really miserable. Sure. But they also really damage the body's immune system and ability to recover and rebalance. And so unfortunately, she died 2 years later, in large part due to this misinformation she received. Wow. In large part due to the harsh treatments that were pushed on her, but also the misinformation she and millions of other people have received up until this point for decades. Yeah. You know, with the food guide pyramid and just poor nutritional advice, poor lifestyle advice. Yeah. And so that really spun me onto my own health journey, because at the time I was overweight, I had acne, I had gut issues, I was depressed, I was just not in a good place. Sure. And so I really set out to learn everything I could about health.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. And so, you know, I was very much in the physical and fitness side of things at the get-go. I studied kinesiology in my undergrad, you know, got into physical therapy. I've always been into sports, played college lacrosse. And I started running a personal training studio and working with clients and, you know, really seeing some good results and really loving the work. Yeah. But I realized really quickly, Justin, like the physical stuff is amazing. And I love exercise. I love training. But it's only one piece of the puzzle.
I know.
You know, and I was seeing so many clients that were training with me a few days a week, but they were eating so poorly. They weren't sleeping well. They were stressed out of their minds, and they weren't taking care of the multitude of other lifestyle factors that play into this. Oh, yeah. And so that's when I went back to post-grad school. I studied naturopathic and functional medicine, became board certified in clinical nutrition, because I just saw how much of an impact this stuff makes, and how it really goes above and beyond just the physical side of things. Sure. Like you mentioned at the intro, it really impacts our mental and emotional well-being. Yeah. It impacts our relationships, our career, our businesses, just our quality of life, how we show up in the world, having that vitality, that energy. Sure. And so that really brings me to where I am today, where I run a global practice. I work with patients from all across the globe, all walks of life, everything from people who are chronically ill, like cancer patients, people with heart disease, people with all sorts of autoimmune conditions. Yeah. All the way to the other end of the spectrum. Guys like you, Justin, who are like entrepreneurs looking to get the edge, saying, hey, I feel pretty good. I'm not sick, but I want to feel better. Yeah. I want to optimize.
Optimize, exactly.
And so that's just kind of a brief rundown of how I got into this. Really, my mom being the driving force behind my passion and purpose, and just my love for helping people get well, because I just wish she had access to the information I share with people, because it would have been such a difference, not only in how long she lived, but also in how she felt in her last days.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about the passing. And it's just beautiful how you took a tragedy and essentially turned it into a positive thing. And here you are helping and saving lives, literally.
Yeah.
And I remember when we had our pre-call, now again, months ago, we were supposed to do this a couple months ago, but here we are. And I remember just being blown away with not only your story, but then just like, as I consider it, the other side of medicine. The last few years here, I've been implementing more of a holistic lifestyle, and Shay as well. And, you know, whether it's a migraine, as you came to save the day a couple of weeks ago for me and gave me some great stuff, and I went out and got and felt so much better. And or it's you know, gut issues or whatever the case is, there is other medicine, other alternatives out there. So let's break down those two. Whichever one you want to go first, just for the people, maybe like a dumbed down version. At least that's what I need.
Yeah. So they're very synonymous in a lot of ways, functional medicine and naturopathic medicine, where allopathic medicine, meaning the modern medical system, really seeks to diagnose an illness and manage symptoms with pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
That's really the goal for a lot of, and obviously there's acute trauma care and surgeries and a lot of things that branch out beyond that. But when it comes to chronic disease, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, it's really about minimizing symptoms through pharmaceutical intervention.
Yeah.
My world is very much so about root cause. What's causing this issue for you, and how can we address it with changes to your lifestyle, changes to your diet, changes to your environment, changes to your mindset, and how you can really give the body the right inputs and the right changes to heal itself. And the way that we do that is through nutritional changes, through bringing in targeted vitamins, herbs, different supplementation, bringing in different lifestyle protocols, and a whole bunch of different avenues that really seek to resolve the root cause, not just manage your symptoms.
And that's I think the biggest component for me is the root of it all. It's not just the surface issue. Like, we're not trimming the weeds here. We're going to pull them out. So for anyone who's skeptical or just hesitant or just maybe a little uneducated in this type of way to approach an illness or a disease, my simple question is, can holistic practicing really help someone who has cancer? Can really help someone who has another serious disease? Because again, I'm thinking of my mom right now watching and this is actually a true story. So I told her about you. I was like, Mom, I talked to my buddy Ryan. He gave me all this stuff. She's like, well, what pills are you taking? I'm like, well, I'm taking supplements for my migraine. Well, okay, Justin, that's fine. But tomorrow, can you please make an appointment with a real doctor? No offense, Ryan. Don't take this person at all, please. You know, can you go see a real doctor? I'm like, okay, Mom. I've known to like not even try to explain.
Sure.
But here we are.
You just have to look at this from a logical point of view.
Okay.
When you have a migraine, for your example, or any issue, your body is not deficient in Advil or in NSAIDs or in some pharmaceutical drug.
Right.
That's just masking the symptoms.
Sure.
And so there's a reason you have that.
Yeah.
It's really a manifestation of an imbalance in your body. And so it'd be the same way as saying, if you check engine light comes on and you're driving in your car, using like a NSAID like Advil or Tylenol would be like putting a little sticker over it and pretending it's not there.
Yeah.
Whereas my point of view is, let's give the body what it needs, whether it's hydration, magnesium, environment changes. Maybe you're dealing with some sort of exposure. Maybe it's something related to your gut health. Maybe it's something you're eating. Let's figure out what's causing it.
Yeah.
And so that's just the simple, like kind of 30,000 foot view of the ideologies and the differences there.
Sure.
And so a lot of people have been conditioned, just like your mom, who mean well, but have just been conditioned through mainstream media that allopathic medicine, modern medicine is the gold standard, the only way.
The only way. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing, Justin, is that the paradigm is shifting. And I see it every day. People coming into my practice who have been to doctor after doctor and specialist after specialist, who have these 5-minute appointments and get drugs pushed on them. And they realize, this is not making me feel better.
Yeah.
A lot of these things have horrible side effects, and it's not making my problem go away.
Sure.
I'm just having to now take this drug for the rest of my life. And that's not something people want to do.
Yeah.
And so more and more people are waking up and realizing there's a better way. There's another way. And I don't want to manage my disease. I want to reverse it.
Sure.
I want to really regain my health.
Yeah.
And that's not the specialty of modern medicine. And I want to be clear, I love modern medicine.
Yeah.
I've been in some terrible crashes on my dirt bike, and I've had some surgeries
Sure.
where they patched me back together, and I'm so grateful because it is incredible for acute trauma care.
Sure.
They save lives every day.
Yeah.
But when it comes to chronic illness, it's really failed to address the root cause and failed to really get to the bottom of it.
Sure.
Because there's not a lot of money in cures.
No. Well, there's no money.
No, there's not.
If we're all healthy out here, it's going to be a lot of people upset in big pharma. I guess I'm interested in hearing just kind of like testimonials of some of your patients and what they've come to you with and how they've come out of it.
So I would say the top two reasons or top two issues people have that come to me for help.
Yeah.
One is gut issues.
Sure.
They run rampant in our society.
Yeah.
Bloating, gas, constipation, abdominal pain, just not feeling good after you eat. Like you're just not breaking down your food right, and your gut feels inflamed and just not good.
Sure.
And so the way I really address this is I figure out what's going on in terms of different imbalances. Oftentimes it's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or candida or yeast overgrowth or C. diff or any type of other gut pathogen.
Okay.
And using targeted herbs along with biofilm disrupting enzymes, we knock out the pathogen in conjunction with targeted probiotic therapy to reinstill good bacteria in the gut. And people's lives transform, man. It's like they came to me because they had chronic bloating and gas and didn't feel well after meals. And not only did we resolve that, then they're like, Ryan, oh my God, I'm sleeping better. My energy is so much better.
Wow.
My mental clarity. I don't have constant brain fog.
Yeah.
I'm not having to drink 4 or 5 coffees a day.
Sure.
I just feel like I got my life back.
Yeah.
Because it's all so interconnected. And that's the whole idea with holistic medicine. Yeah. Instead of breaking up the body into all these different compartments, we have a heart doctor, a kidney doctor, a specialist for, different aspects of the body.
Yeah.
Holistic is really looking at the body as a system.
Yeah. As a whole.
Understanding it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
And so the other thing people come to me a lot for help is relating hormones, especially women. I work with a lot of women that have a lot of really painful and uncomfortable PMS symptoms, menstrual cramps and just feeling really terrible around their monthly cycle.
Sure.
Weight loss resistance, having issues when it comes to just their overall mood and mental state.
Yeah.
And when you start to correct a lot of the underlying imbalances hormonally and really get in sync with what's called their infradian rhythm. So this is their biological monthly cycle. A lot of people listening may have heard of circadian rhythm, which is our 24-hour biological clock, helps to govern when we sleep, when we wake, all those sorts of functions. Women have an infradian rhythm that really runs on this 28-day cycle. And when you start to really get in sync with that, you start to really give them the right types of dietary changes at different times of the month, because women are so different than men.
Sure.
And oftentimes they get lumped into the same recommendations as guys, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I work a lot with hormonal balance and see incredible results with my female patients. And then, everything from, like you said, people that are really chronically ill to people who are just looking for the edge, looking to feel better, perform better.
Sure.
Entrepreneurs looking to take their business to the next level by showing up in the world, getting deeper, more restorative sleep in less time.
Yeah.
Having a lot of this, these productive hacks that they can really implement to get a better ROI, return on investment on their time and energy. So instead of working out at the gym an hour a day, we bring some efficiency to that process, and you're getting those same benefits, better results by spending 20 minutes.
Yeah. I would love to just fire off a couple symptoms or conditions that I'm sure the general public would have and experience, and then maybe you can just throw on some fire extinguisher onto the fire really quick. So let's talk about migraines for a second. I know we're all, we all deal with different levels of them. It may be hereditary. There's a lot that's under that umbrella. But just as a migraine, if you could give anyone who suffers from them consistently any kind of help for that.
3 main reasons people get headaches and migraines.
Okay.
First one, very simple, dehydration.
Okay.
They're not drinking enough water. They're drinking a bunch of coffee and soda and a bunch of other garbage, and they're dehydrated. And even as little as 1% dehydration in the body can lead to severe headaches, can lead to severe dysfunction, because every organ, cell, tissue, and system in our bodies requires water to function properly.
Sure.
So dehydration is a big one.
Okay.
As a general rule of thumb, I recommend getting about half your body weight in pounds in ounces per day. Okay. So if you weigh 200 pounds, aiming for about 100 ounces per day.
Sure.
And that'll fluctuate a little bit based on your activity level and if you're hitting the sauna or, depending on what climate you live in. But that's a good general rule of thumb. But I actually really like to add trace minerals to my water. And this is a supplement you can get for very cheap. You get a whole bottle of this stuff for like 20, 25 bucks on Amazon. Okay. And the two brands I like is Aussie Minerals and Trace Mineral Research. Okay. Product called Concern Trace. And they're just little drops that have 72 ionic trace minerals extracted for the Aussie Minerals from, Australia. And the other one is from the, I forget where it's extracted from, but point is,
I guess Iceland. In my head, I want to say Iceland.
No, it's not Iceland. Okay. It's somewhere in the United States.
Okay.
But it brings in all of these other constituents because H2O is just part of the picture, right? Okay. We also need all of the trace elements, minerals, and electrolytes for our cells to utilize that water. Sure. Same reason why if you drink strictly distilled water over the course of time, you'd run into some major issues. Yeah. And so we want mineralized water. And the best way to do this is to bring in trace minerals. Trace minerals.
Okay. I'll make sure these are in the show notes. If you guys are watching, I've already thrown up a little picture right now, but carry on.
Yeah. So in addition to that, making sure that you're really not drinking too much water at your mealtime because you don't want to dilute your stomach acid and digestive enzymes. So really drinking water right when you wake up in the morning is a perfect time to hydrate the body because we lose about a pound of water overnight while we're sleeping.
How much water would you say?
It depends on your body weight, depends on the person. Okay. I like to say at least an ounce for every 10 pounds of body weight first thing in the morning. Okay. So again, if you weigh 200 pounds, about 20 ounces of water. Okay. You can do a little more than that. Yeah. But that's a good minimum. Okay. Just to get the body going. It kickstarts the metabolism. It helps get those morning bowel movements going. Sure. It's got a lot of benefits from a cellular perspective.
Warm water, cold water?
Room temp.
Room temp. Lemon, no lemon?
Either one's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah, lemon, lime, going to be a good source of potassium and it's going to be totally fine. Okay. And you could do warm water. That'll help with your morning bowel movement. Sure. But I'm not a huge fan of cold water. Different Ayurvedic principles talk about how you don't want to lower the body's chi in the morning by drinking a bunch of ice cold water. Sure. So room temp is fine. Warm water is also fine if you prefer that. And then, just throughout the day, getting your water intake in is huge. So back to the original question. Yes. Hydration is key. The other big low-hanging fruit when people have chronic headaches and migraines is magnesium deficiency. Yep. Magnesium being our body's master mineral, it's critical for hundreds of biochemical processes within the body. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to get enough through food alone. Due to poor farming practices, our soils are just deficient, man. And so we're not getting enough magnesium through our diets. Sure. And so bringing in some magnesium is highly effective. And the dosage is going to vary based on the person. Mm-hmm. My favorite form of magnesium, because there's all sorts of different forms. As a general rule of thumb, I like magnesium glycinate. It's well absorbed. Okay. Something you can pick up on Amazon. Pure Encapsulations is the brand I like. Okay. Magnesium citrate is great if you deal with mild constipation. That helps get your bowels moving. Okay. And there's 10 other forms of magnesium I could rattle off, but not to confuse people. That's kind of the one that I typically will say generally, this is a good bet.
I know. As I take a look behind us, I was like wondering if there's any of that here.
I don't know if I have any on the shelf here. But
okay, no worries. I was going to hold it in my hand, but carry on.
Yeah. So magnesium and dehydration are two of the three common sources, and those are easy to fix. Okay. Not going to cost you a lot of money. No. And by putting the trace minerals in the water, you're getting all those ionic trace elements, which is also going to help with this whole process. Sure. The third aspect gets a little more broad. Okay. And this is where you're getting some sort of exposure to something that's causing the headache, that's causing the inflammation in the body. Yeah. And so for a lot of people, it's a chemical exposure.
That was mine, I think,
caused by, the personal care products you're using or the household cleaners that you're using or something in your environment that contains toxic chemicals that your body is now having this reaction to, creating the headache. Yep. And so that's obviously requires some detective work of trying to figure it out, but that's another big cause. And I've even seen food be a cause. I was just working with a female patient who has had 1 to 2 migraines a week for the last many years before coming to see me. So it's been a major problem. And these are like debilitating migraines. And, she just gets basically pain drugs thrown at her from the conventional treatment options. And so she came to see me. We started cleaning up a bunch of things with her lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We ran a food sensitivity lab because she was having a lot of digestive issues. Yeah. And what it turned out is she had all these foods she was eating every day that she was highly reactive to, generally recognized as healthy. Things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, salmon, things you would never expect are bad for you, but she was having this reaction to them. And when we pulled those out of her diet, the migraines went away. She hasn't had a single one since.
Oh my God.
Keep in mind, this is also coupled with a number of other therapies that we've implemented. So it's a multi-dimensional approach. Yeah. But the big thing here too is when you have a food sensitivity lab, and you have a whole bunch of foods you're reactive to, like this woman did, it's a clear indication of what's called leaky gut, where food particles are seeping through and there's permeability in the small intestine, and it's creating this inflammatory, this immune response to these food particles. And so by eating them day in and day out with poor gut integrity, it's creating problems to where you're having reactions to foods that would generally be recognized as healthy. So we healed and sealed the gut using things like colostrum and lactoferrin, bringing in, key amino acids like glutamine, and also bringing in some targeted probiotics. Okay. And so now she's able to eat all, I'm talking dozens and dozens of foods came back as reactive. Wow. No longer the case for her. Ugh. So when you heal the gut, it calms down the immune system response. And then over time, your body doesn't have a negative reaction anymore. So that's a big thing as well, is coming back to just kind of foods that may be causing a reaction for you, even though they're generally recognized as healthy. Yeah.
Jeez. I'm just thinking, like, if I was sitting there like, oh, I got my salmon, I got my broccoli, I'm eating healthy, migraine, I'm just like, I can't win, I'm just going to go to In-N-Out, or whatever. But no, I appreciate you sharing all that. And that's why I think it's important. I know, again, for me, I don't want anyone to be offended listening or watching thinking Justin's asking these dumbed down questions. I'm asking, yes, I am, number one, but I'm asking for myself. This is how I operate, guys. Okay. So that's the migraine tips, which are great and helpful. I would like to know about the 2:00 crash for all the 9-to-5ers out there, all the working people. What are some quick fixes to help with that?
So the way that I operate isn't necessarily like, okay, you're having this crash every afternoon. What can we do to give you more energy at that 2:00 crash? Yeah. What I'm going to say is, what's causing the 2 p.m. crash? Why don't you have all day energy?
Get to the root.
Good. Get to the root. Yeah. So for many people, it's poor sleep quality. Yeah. Getting to bed too late, circadian rhythm dysfunction, not getting deep restorative sleep, getting into those deeper stage 3 and stage 4 cycles of sleep. So that's a big one for people. Sure. Another one is they're pounding all this caffeine first thing in the morning. And by drinking a bunch of coffee right when you wake up, it's really putting your body and your cortisol rhythms in this really wonky state. Yep. And so I'm not against coffee. I love some organic coffee or organic tea, especially in moderate amounts. Don't overdo it. Sure. But not drinking it the second you wake up. Okay. Having at least an hour to naturally wake up your body, utilizing things like natural sunlight, sets that circadian rhythm, activates the hypothalamus, helps to upregulate your energy naturally, and really helps to get the mitochondria going, our cellular power plants. Sure. Hydration again in the morning. And then just having some sort of morning routine, which we could take a deep rabbit hole into, talk about some of these practices and how they're going to set you up for success so that your whole day is going to be better and your energy is going to be much more stable than having this big caffeine high in the morning where you're riding on caffeine till, 11, 12, 1 p.m. But then as you crash from that, you just feel like you need more coffee and you're dragging and you got, foggy mental space and you're having trouble performing at work. Yeah. So those are big things to kind of red flags to look out for. Okay. The biggest red flag, what did you eat for lunch? A lot of people are making suboptimal food choices for lunch where they're eating a bunch of high glycemic refined grains. Sure, carbs. Yeah. And it's not that carbs are bad. Yeah. It's a big difference between having some sweet potato and having a bowl of pasta.
The different carbs. Yeah.
It depends on the glycemic response, their metabolic health. But point is, you want to keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day because when you have this big blood sugar fluctuation after lunch, your blood glucose goes sky high because you ate, a bunch of these processed refined carbohydrates. Your body secretes all this insulin from the pancreas in order to bring that blood sugar back down. Sure. Well, insulin is our body's number one fat storage hormone, so it's really problematic for weight gain, but it also creates that fatigue, creates that brain fog, it creates that low energy state, especially in chronic amounts, because then your body becomes desensitized to it, and then it has to produce more and more to accomplish the task of normalizing your blood glucose. Sure. So I always urge people, I'm not like a hardcore keto guy. I'm not like a zero carb guy. I'm about what's going to be best for your body. Yeah. And vast majority of people, unless you're like a crazy athlete training all the time, the vast majority of people do really good keeping their breakfast and lunch very low carb. Sticking to healthy fats, high quality protein, non-starchy vegetables, things of that nature, and then replenishing carbohydrates with dinner. Okay. And when you have that low carb lunch, you're not going to be susceptible to that energy crash an hour or two after. Yeah. So that's a big thing to be considered of as well. But let's get into some brass tacks tips. Let's say you get to 2 p.m. You're like, well, Ryan, this all makes sense, but I'm here now. I want to feel better. What can I do? There's a couple things. One is movement.
Yeah.
Something as simple as just taking 5 to 10 minutes, going for a quick walk in the sunshine, or even doing some what I call trigger sessions. A brief burst of movement could be body weight squats, could be push-ups, could be lunges, any body weight exercise that is going to stimulate muscle in order to normalize blood glucose, upregulate energy, and create this hormonal cascade to trigger this response in the body that's going to help you feel more mentally acute. You're going to have better mental clarity. You're going to feel more energetic.
Sure.
You're going to improve your mood, get this little rush of beta endorphins. And when you do that outside in the sunshine, it is just a recipe for success. And I'm not talking a workout.
Yeah.
I know if people are working 9 to 5, they might be wearing nice clothes.
Sure.
Not in a position to get sweat on.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 60 seconds.
Right.
A quick burst of movement to really recalibrate the system is powerful and is so easy. It's free. You can do it anywhere. And it's going to go a long way for people. It's just doing a little trigger session, or a lower intensity option would just be a few minutes walking outside in the sun. A lot of times people are dehydrated. Yeah. And as soon as they drink a glass of water, they feel so much better. Yeah. So before you go to the coffee, which is a diuretic, hydrate the body first, then see how you feel. Sure. The other thing with this that I love, this is a more advanced technique. We'll dive into a little bit here, but maybe we could post some other material for people. But it's what I call energy activation breathwork. Yes. And this is a 4 to 5 minute practice that will transform your freaking life. And so you really want to take about 20 to 30 deep breaths. Okay. All in and out through the mouth. Okay. We could talk about nasal breathing and why that's so imperative for people, but when you're doing breath work, conscious and controlled breath work, you want to be in and out through the mouth for this energizing form. Okay. And so you do your 20 to 30 deep breaths, breathing deep into the diaphragm and then letting it out, or in a rhythmic fashion, back to back to back to back. On your last breath, you take a deep breath in, you hold at the top, and then you perform a set of either push-ups, body weight squats, any type of exercise during that breath hold. Okay. Until you feel the need to breathe, you exhale all the air in your lungs, completely empty the lungs. Then you take another deep breath in, fill up the lungs. You do a full body contraction, squeeze every muscle in your body, circulate that life force energy throughout your body, and then hold for about 4 to 5 seconds, relax, and you repeat that twice. Takes about 2.5 minutes each round. Okay. It is, dude, it works like gangbusters. Wow. You're going to love it. It's super quick. It's super efficient. Okay. I do this every morning when I wake up. And then as an afternoon pick-me-up, it is extraordinarily effective. Okay. And so essentially it's a similar concept as Wim Hof breathing, but it's short form. It involves some exercise, which is a lot more effective in delivering these results in a quicker fashion. Sure. It helps to upregulate dopamine in our brain. Okay. Dopamine being one of our feel-good neurotransmitters associated with energy, motivation, and drive. Yeah. And also concentration and focus. And you are fully charged. Lights up the energy system. Shit am. You get high on your own supply, man. 4 minutes. That's all it is. Holy shit. And you feel just completely revitalized, dude. It upregulates your energy, your dopamine. Oh my God. You feel like $1 million.
I feel like I just took pre-workout powder and just went just dumped it in. The only struggle that I had was really trying to focus on inhaling through the gut.
It takes practice. Yeah. It takes practice because most people don't know how to use their diaphragm. Right. All of the people are shallow chest breathers. So you want to focus on, that's why it helps to have your hands. So as you breathe in, see how that expands the diaphragm? Then you flow it up into the chest. So it looks like this for people watching on a side view. That's how you get the fullest, deepest breaths, and you really dig deep into the diaphragm. But most people, their diaphragm has been used in so long because they don't know how to do proper belly breathing. So they need to train up to that. There it is. They need to practice it. And sometimes it'll help doing it lying. In a lying position. Sometimes it'll be a little easier than standing for some people. Yeah. Everyone's different. Yeah, you ready to take on the world?
Juiced up. Wow.
That's what I do.
That hold.
Yeah.
When you're holding,
you just feel the energy circulating through your bloodstream.
There's like a light from the toe to the top of the head that I'm just like charged. Yep. Wow.
Shared a few strategies. We could talk all day about this one topic, but we may want to move on from there.
Yeah, well, right now I'm assuming everyone's went to your Instagram, they went to your website. They're like, "Who the hell is this guy? I want more," and I can't get enough. I have one more question, just as kind of like another fix, and then we'll actually get into breathwork and then nutrition. We'll talk about the book, etc. My last question that I'm sure a lot of people struggle with, thankfully I cannot relate to this, trouble sleeping. Whether it's trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, what do you got for that?
I got a lot for that.
Yeah.
So what people need to understand about sleep, first and foremost, is that you need to set yourself up for success when it comes to your sleep.
Okay.
You can't just show up in bed, put your head on the pillow, and expect to fall asleep if you've been doing all the wrong things throughout the day.
Sure.
So you need to align what I chatted about earlier, what's called your circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Our bodies function on this biological clock.
Yeah.
And it allows our bodies to have the proper signals to upregulate energy, to suppress melatonin, to upregulate melatonin, our master sleep hormone,
Sure.
to change all of these functions in the body. And so there's a few key things I'm going to outline. I could talk about sleep for an hour, so I'll try and keep it concise.
Okay.
Try and keep it concise. The morning routine stuff I talked about is key. A lot of stuff breaks loose throughout our day. Busy day, you got work, you got family, you got all sorts of things going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little bit out of our control to do a lot of these things.
Okay.
But we all have control over our mornings and we have control over our evenings.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of sandwiching your day with these critical practices that are going to really set the stage for how you feel during the day.
Sure.
So morning routine, getting that morning sunlight is probably the most underrated thing anyone can do that's watching this.
Wow.
Step outside. It could be for as little as 5 to 10 minutes, but when the sun is at a low solar angle, shortly after sunrise.
Okay.
This could be an hour after, it could be 2 hours after.
Sure.
But right when you wake up, you want to get outside because window glass blocks a lot of these beneficial light spectrums and reduces the light intensity. So it doesn't have this signaling component to your body. So morning sunlight will anchor that circadian rhythm and actually help facilitate better sleep that night.
Wow.
So not only we have more energy and feel better during that day, it's going to aid in the sleep at the night, in the evening hours. So that's huge. And then just getting out during the day in general for some sensible sun exposure is what I call it.
Okay.
So a lot of people have been misled to fear the sun.
Yeah.
The dermatology industry and the modern medical industry have, they say it causes skin cancer. You got to lather on all this sunscreen if you're going to step outside. It is complete BS.
Wow.
We have evolved to thrive with the sun. And it's one of the most important factors to our health.
Yeah.
Now, laying out at the beach for 6 hours and getting burnt to a crisp is not sensible.
No.
That's not advisable. And any type of burn damages the skin.
Sure.
Whether it's from the sun, hot water, the stovetop.
Yep.
We don't want excessive oxidative damage on the skin. Mm-hmm. But when you're going out for 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on your proximity to the equator and your skin tone, it releases so many beneficial responses in the body. It helps with vitamin D, which most people know about.
Yeah.
It helps with melanin production. It also helps with nitric oxide, which is very important for blood flow, delivery of nutrients, energy, so many things when it comes to our health and performance.
Sure.
It helps with all these different biochemical processes, helps upregulate endorphins for our mood. And it really helps set the stage so that when we go to bed at night, we can sleep better. And many people can probably relate to this. You've been outside on a weekend, spending time by the beach or with your friends outside, going for a hike out in nature. And that night you sleep great.
Oh, like a rock.
Yeah. But then like on the flip side, you're in the office, you're under artificial junk lights in front of a computer screen, you're tired all day. And then at night you're like wired.
Sure.
You're not, you're like wired and tired is what they call it because you're physically like not ready to do much. But mentally your brain is still going.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing is just optimizing your light exposure.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the evening hours, trying to be outside for sunset is ideal because it emits the specific spectrums that signal to the brain that it's sundown, that the day is ending, that we need to start preparing for sleep. Very important. So sunrise, midday, and sunset, and it doesn't require you to be out there for hours. 5 to 10 minutes at sunrise.
Sure.
Longer is always better. Whatever you can tolerate during the midday, maybe 10, maybe 20 minutes.
Sure.
Midday sun with as much skin exposure as possible. We want to think of our bodies like a solar panel.
Yeah.
Really soaking up these rays. No sunscreen, folks. They're going to block all these benefits. And most sunscreens have so many toxic chemicals that get absorbed transdermally into the bloodstream.
Sure.
They are a big culprit when it comes to skin cancer, quite frankly.
Okay.
And don't be out though for hours on end. Go get your sensible sun exposure and then put on a hat or a long sleeve or find some shade.
Sure.
Then evening, being outside around that time, around sunset. Yeah. Doesn't have to be like you're staring at the sunset if you don't have like a beautiful view at your house. Just so that you're outside, that indirect light will still provide these benefits.
Sure.
Now, a few other key things in the evenings that I find work really, really well.
Sure.
To help de-stress, decompress, unwind at night. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites is deep stretching combined with deep breathing.
Okay.
It is a powerful way to open up different pathways in the body that drops you into this parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system state that will really help you to relax and really help you to fall asleep easier, stay asleep, all that type of good stuff. Plus you get the functional benefit of some stretching.
Sure.
Not talking about an hour-long yoga class,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah.
No Warrior Threes up in here. I'm just talking like lay down and open up the back, open up the hamstrings,
Sure.
the hip flexors, really relaxing long holds.
Yeah.
Nothing too strenuous. And coupling that with deep nasal breathing, where you're going to take a 5-second inhale through the nose into the belly, and then a slow 10-second exhale.
Okay.
By doubling the length of exhale versus inhale, you're really starting to drop the nervous system and lower stress, lower blood pressure, lower resting heart rate. It's really, really powerful technique. And this is something you could do anytime you're stressed or anxious or pent up, driving in traffic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
5-second inhale through the nose, 10-second exhale through the nose, and repeating that 6 breaths.
Okay.
About 90 seconds is all you need to make this switch. It's been shown in a Japanese study. Very powerful. Very powerful tool for people to have in their back pocket if they're ever feeling really anxious or wound up.
Sure.
But at night, it's especially effective.
Okay.
The other thing I really like in conjunction with this, and doing it for 10, 15 minutes is all you really need, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it for 30 if you want to do a deep stretch, but most people don't have the time or desire.
Right.
And I'm all about the minimum effective dose.
Yep.
How can we really get the benefits we're looking for in the least
short
amount of time?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a lot of time to spare, most of us. So 5 to 10 minutes of this stretching would be awesome. Other thing I like is journaling. Getting your thoughts on paper goes such a long way. So we all have these mental notes. I got to remember to call this person tomorrow. I got to remember to do this on Friday. I got to remember this. And that just occupies real estate in your mind and keeps your mind going. Write that shit down on paper.
Yeah.
Get it out of your head. Put it on paper.
Yep. And be done with it.
Done with it. Exactly. And then the other thing I really like the journaling for is just analyzing your day. A lot of us are kept up with our minds thinking, I wish I said this to that person, or I wish I did this differently, or I forgot to do that. Write that shit down. Yeah. Get it out of your head. Put it on paper. And then always finishing with some gratitude. Yep. Gratitude is one of the best states to be in to go to sleep. I mean, in general, it's just a great mental state to be in. So just writing down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Yeah. So those 3 legs of a journaling practice are very powerful as an evening routine practice. Yeah. And then we could talk about supplements. We could talk about a bunch of other things, but those are some good lifestyle variables to keep in mind.
Yeah, and we'll save the supplements for when we get into the book because I'm excited to go down that road. That was all super helpful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. If we can, I'm gonna get some links from Ryan to throw in the show notes for the glasses you're talking about wearing for the blue light and a couple other just hacks, and I'll make sure I include all those so you guys can just click away.
So that's something that it's just easy, simple, and well worth doing. Wow.
And that's the thing, simple and well worth. Like those 2 words, if you guys took away anything from all that, this is the best investment you can make is within yourself. Yep. Sleep is up there. Nutrition is up there. Optimizing, all the above to as much as you can. But speaking of nutrition, let's talk about the book that you wrote.
Well, the book is called Beyond Nutrition.
Okay.
And it's a hybrid. It's part information. It's got 15 chapters of health and nutrition information. Yeah. But it's part recipe book. Oh. Okay. And the reason I decided to make it a recipe book, because a lot of people ask me, like, Ryan, you practice functional medicine? Like, strike me as a guy that's getting down and dirty in the kitchen. I'm like, quite the contrary, fellas. I love to get down and dirty in the kitchen because recipes are really the key to dialing in your nutrition. I was getting, all these patients I was working with in my practice, telling them all the foods to avoid, foods to include, how to change up their diet. Sure. But there was a missing link between that recommendation and actually putting it into practice. And recipes bridge that gap. Yep. They tell you, hey, you need these 6 ingredients, follow these simple directions, and within 10 to 15 minutes, you have a delicious, nourishing meal for yourself and your loved ones. Sure. And so I started creating all these recipes and getting great feedback from my community, my audience, saying, Ryan, you should put these all in a book. Like, I would love a recipe book from you because there's a lot of great recipe books. Not all of them are so healthy. Sure. So that is what kind of inspired the book. And I'm like, well, I got to give some context with the recipes. Sure. So I, kind of snowballed into 15 chapters, and it's pretty concise and very straight to the point, giving people the high level, really actionable advice of how to really transform your health, transform your nutrition, and also your life. Yeah. By what you eat, what you put in your mouth. And so that was how the book came to fruition, man. It's just a journey of just kind of putting out this helpful information for patients, then to my, social media and people that are paying attention to me online. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed into like, people want it in a one stop shop. Like just get a book and you're off to the races. And it's just a great way to reach a lot of people. So, I've been able to reach thousands and thousands of readers, and really honored to have that best-selling book, because it's really been a powerful tool to help people that may not be able to, hire me for my consulting services, may not be in a position financially or otherwise to work together. But virtually anyone can afford a book. Yeah. And if you apply what's in there, you may not need to work with me. You're going to get a lot of the great information, a lot of the great protocols and resources and the rest to really make a serious impact on how you feel and, what choices you're making throughout the day.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Shay and I, we have a book that Ryan gifted us, so we're going to dive into it here, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to know if someone is listening or watching and saying, you know what, I've had some health issues that I want to get checked out, whether it's their doctor's not really doing it for them, or maybe they're not really aligning with Western medicine, et cetera. I want to know, how can people get in touch with you? And then if you can just walk us all through what are some of the next followed through steps. So what can people expect? Et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. So great question. You can get in touch with me, social media on Instagram is where I'm most active, at Ryan C. Kennedy. And you can find me on YouTube, do a few things here and there on Facebook. Yep. And you could also just send me an email. Okay. RyanKennedyHealth@gmail.com. Yeah. And send me an email saying, hey, I'm interested in working together, getting, improvements in these areas, and curious how that works. Yeah. Essentially the next step after that is I really like to get them on the phone. Yep. It's a free call, and it's with my patient wellness advisor. Sometimes I take these calls when I have the time. Okay. And it's really to figure out what's going to be best for this person. Yeah. Because I have a number of different ways of helping people. I have online courses, I have group programs, I have one-on-one consulting, I have all sorts of master classes and videos, and maybe it turns out I could just steer them to some of my free content. Say, here's what you need, implement this. I don't need to work with you. Sure. It's not that common. Most people need and want that additional layer of guidance and support and accountability. But I like to chat with someone just to hear where they're coming from, just to see where you're at, where you want to go, how I can help you get there, and then see what works with their, resources, with their finances, in terms of how much they want to invest into themselves, into their health, and then guiding them into one of the various options. I've been having incredible success, Justin, with my group programs. I have a men's and a women's health optimization series, and it's a 12-week program that I've been so honored to put together, because it's really helped me reach more people and change more lives. And I'm getting as good of results as I am with my one-on-one patients. And it's building community. So you have a community, a tribe of like-minded individuals, all on the same path, achieving excellence in their health, their wellness, their overall lives. Sure. And it fosters good friendships, good relationships, and it just creates this great energy of support, in addition to all the protocols and guidance and recommendations, coupled with accountability check-ins and, weekly coaching calls. So that's been a real big project. I launched middle of last year, coming up on about a year ago. Okay. And it's just been transformative in my ability to reach more people, help more people, and also build these communities for all the benefits associated with that a lot of people are really lacking in this day and age. Yeah. And I love that you don't have to be in San Diego. Hell, you don't have to be in California. You can have to be in the US. Yeah, exactly. You can be anywhere. Ryan's here to help. I'm throwing up the website right now. And again, everything, if you guys are listening, everything's in the show notes. Don't hesitate to reach out. So a little bit more, I've been fascinated with breathwork and cold showers. Kind of since the pandemic started, I was already on Wim Hof, and I was like, well, now I have the time and I don't have to worry about any other excuses for traveling or whatever. I can really knock this stuff out. So I want to talk about, well, first, my selfish question is, how do you feel about cold showers? I've been trying to get people on them to like, Justin, I don't know how the hell you can do it. I'm like, look, there's levels to it. But in large part, the reason why I can get through these cold showers, because now it's like up to 3 minutes, breathwork in the shower. Yep. So how do you feel about cold showers? And then we can go into breathwork. I love cold showers. Okay. They provide so many physical benefits. Yeah. Everything from upregulating fat-burning hormones to enhancing our energy. But what I really love about cold showers is it builds mental resilience. It builds that grit of just saying, hey, there's this thing, I don't want to do it. Yep. It sucks, but I'm going to do it anyways. Yep. And you get that early win, and it builds that momentum and carries over into other aspects of your life. So 100%. I love it for that reason. Yeah. Now, when I'm working with someone who's like, I hate the cold, Ryan, I can't do it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Yeah. It's so hard. we only have so much willpower, so much energy reserves. Sure. And so if someone's in that camp, I'm not like, hey, if you got to do the cold showers, it's like end all be all.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, it's great. And it's awesome. And if you can do it, amazing.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have a person who's not about it divert their energy and really their discipline towards other aspects of their health.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be other things that are going to be more important for them.
Totally.
You know, like we talked about nutrition, sleep, managing stress, cleaning up a whole bunch of different variables about their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. But if someone's listening to this, they're like, I get it. I get the benefits, but it's just not for me. I'm like, it's not, there's nothing that's for everyone.
Yeah. Totally.
So to each their own.
Yeah.
In terms of breath work, I became very, very fascinated by the science as well as just the profound benefits I was getting clinically with breathwork modalities several years ago. And so I want to start by talking about the importance of daily nasal breathing.
Okay.
Breathing throughout the day. Most people are shallow mouth breathers. And this creates a poor oxygen environment. It creates stress. It creates anxiety. It creates physical dysfunction at the cellular level.
Yeah.
And so I'm a huge proponent of just teaching people how to breathe.
Yeah.
I was given a keynote about 6 months ago to a community of individuals. And they asked me at the end, they're like, Ryan, if there was just one thing you could give in terms of advice for someone, what would it be? I'd be like, learn how to breathe.
Yeah.
Which is the craziest thing, Justin, that we're taught all these things in school about history and algebra and all these topics.
I know.
We're never taught how to use the most basic, fundamental function of the human body. Yeah. This is one of the first things they teach monks as they're in monk school is how to use the breath, because it's a powerful catalyst to elicit change physiologically.
Wow.
And so first thing you need to understand is breathing day to day. We want to always focus on breathing in and out through the nose. We never want to breathe through the mouth because we have these nervous system receptors in the nostrils, and it creates a completely different response in the body than when you're breathing through the mouth. So if you're talking, obviously that's an exception. Yeah. And if you're doing ultra high intensity exercise, like interval training, and you're just at high level of your VO2 max, that is going to require some mouth breathing potentially, but you could obviously train up to be nasal breathing primarily during your exercise too, which is even better. Yeah. But I always urge people to just be mindful, to just breathe through your nose. Close your mouth, breathe through your nose. It's going to be transformative. A guy named James Nestor recently wrote a great book on this called Breathe or Breath. And it goes into the science. He does awesome. He talks about research. He talks about how, the differences from a physiological level, testing all these different parameters of your health between nasal breathing and mouth breathing. So that's huge. And also when you're sleeping, I'm a big fan of using a little piece of tape along your lips. Mouth tape is becoming more popular because a lot of people that struggle with jaw clenching, snoring, all sorts of different respiratory issues while they're sleeping, when you start to breathe through the nose, it is a game changer, man. Wow. It's a game changer for your sleep quality and lowering the body's stress response. So that's day-to-day breathing. Now, when you're doing breath work, it's a much more active, engaging, conscious, controlled breathing. Sure. And this is usually done in and out through the mouth when you're talking about more intense forms of breath work like the Wim Hof. Sure. And I love Tumo breathing. That's like the more common, or not common, it's the proper name of the Wim Hof method that he popularized. And I think that's great for energizing the body, for getting you just high in your own supply. Sure. A lot of people, they're looking for something outside of themselves to make themselves feel better. Whether it's food, whether it's drugs or alcohol, whether it's material possessions. But what they need to understand is we have access to the greatest pharmacy in the world. It's already inside our brains. Yeah. We have access to all the feel-good neurotransmitters, all the neurochemicals. And when you start to learn how to utilize them and access them through the breath, you realize you don't need any of that stuff. Right. And that's why I've seen breath work be such a powerful tool for healing from addiction and substance abuse, because it really helps people shift their consciousness, and two, shift their complete mental state without the use of any exogenous substance. And that's a powerful thing. And it also really creates the container for deep mental and emotional healing, which is oftentimes at the root cause of a lot of substance abuse. Sure. So it's multifaceted of why it's so great for those people dealing with or struggling with something like that. Wow. But the type of breath work I love most is different than Wim Hof. It's a type of holotropic breath work. And this is a long form breath work. It's about, 20 to 30 minute practice where you're doing this rhythmic, conscious, controlled breathing, this 3-part breath. And what this does, Justin, is it completely shifts you out of your head into your heart. It quiets the ego. slows down the overactivation of your frontal lobe, which is your monkey mind, your ego mind that has all these barriers, of suppressed memories and all these different things that we really are holding back, all this bullshit and past experiences that people drag around with us. This allows you to let it go, man. And it's so freaking incredible. It really is the most powerful thing I've ever found when it comes to emotional healing, releasing past trauma, getting rid of limiting beliefs, and just providing the container to do deep inner work. And you don't need anything. You just lie on the floor and do this breathing. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about breath work is it's accessible to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I think that's why it's lacking the attention and popularity that it should, because you're not selling anything. You don't have to buy a bottle of pills. You don't have to buy any special biohacking gadgets or gear. Yeah. You just breathe in this special way. Yeah. And so I facilitate these classes, these transformational breathwork classes every month. I do them online. They're virtual. And, I basically create this journey, this experience with guided music and guidance through me, yelling all sorts of stuff out to help people go deeper and facilitate this transformative experience. And you really do feel this insane breakthrough. Wow. And you feel this insane deeper connection to yourself and to deeper love. Yeah. And you are able to let go of just past regrets, past, anger, the, resentment people have towards others who have wronged them, all the different past traumas that we experience in this life. You just let it go, man. And you feel so light. You feel so centered. I mean, the most common remark I get from my students after these classes is that, Ryan, that felt like 10 years of therapy in 1 hour without having to say a word.
Wow.
It is mind blowing. And this type of breath work completely changed my life. And that's what got me into this. Wow. And so it's just such an underutilized technique. And so I'm on a mission to share it. And I have hundreds of people come to my monthly classes and I absolutely love it. I get flooded with emails and responses of all the good feedback people have. Yeah. And so that's something I highly encourage people to check out. Yeah. Because it's, online, they could do it from the comfort of their own home. Sure. And it's really such a just incredible experience. Yeah. To really heal emotionally, mentally, and also tap in spiritually. Sure. People will have communications with relatives who have passed away. Yeah. I've had the craziest stories from my students of just going into these deep places and there's no pills, no shamanic rituals, no psychedelics. Yeah. This is a natural, practical way to go and do deep work and to really create this incredible healing response in the body.
I gotta let this marinate, man. Oh, I'm having a moment of like, I'm so happy that this is what I do. Just to be able to meet people like you, man, and just receive this. I can't wait. We're gonna practice this later today. Shay's here. We're gonna get into all this and we're gonna do this this breath work, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I want people, because I'm sure everyone's like, when's the next class? So this episode, we're in June. Do you have your date for the July class yet or anything like that?
So I have the next class is June 27th. It's a Thursday. Okay. I believe it's the 27th. I'll get you the link for that though.
Okay, great.
And then the webpage that I'll provide you with, the link, it's ryankennedyhealth.com/breathwork. Okay. It's updated every month to reflect the new class dates.
Okay, cool. Great. And I'm assuming too, there has to be some type of intention that needs to be set before you even lay down, or maybe while you're laying down there in the beginning. And I remember you said too, like the first 5 minutes are the hardest, but if you get through that, it just gets better from there.
Well, it's called breath work. It's hard work. It's not a walk in the park. You earn it. Sure. You've got to really push through discomfort because mentally, your brain doesn't want you to do anything difficult or uncomfortable. Right. It wants you to stay in your little safe bubble. Yeah. And the problem with that is anything worth attaining in life requires going outside your comfort zone, pushing through this resistance. Yep. And so breath work is the same way. The first few minutes, people oftentimes have to really push themselves to get there, but the entire rest of the practice is exponentially easier once you get into this state, this rhythm, this flow. Yeah. And the thing about the breath work as well is it's just so different in your experience every time you do it. And when it comes to setting intentions, I do have people set intentions, but what I find oftentimes, Justin, is they'll go in with this intention, like I have this resentment towards my father or my mother, or, I have this, experience. Maybe they had some sexual abuse or some other physical trauma. Yeah. And they go into it with that, and the brain and their mental and emotional space completely just throw something else at them. Where it's like, I went in thinking I was going to work through this, but I also had a bunch of other things I needed to work through clearly. And so everyone, I just tell them, come in with an open mind, give it everything you got.
Sure.
Your body will take care of the rest.
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't wait for everyone to take this class. I can't wait for us to take this class. So again, all the links are below for everyone to get in touch with Ryan. The Instagram handle's been popping up here throughout. I am just blown away. This is going to be an episode where I actually can't wait to edit because I'm going to be able to really sit down and take my notes and just process everything. All right, let's get into some really, really, really fun, light stuff. Everyone kick back, relax. This is the round of rapid fire questions. So Ryan has no idea what's coming his way, but you'll be all right, man. Okay, question number 1. What's one thing you know you need to do, but you're afraid to do it?
That's a good one. Nothing comes to mind initially. Okay. There's a lot of things I know I need to do. It's not that I'm afraid to do it. It's just
finding the time.
Yeah, and also just there's other areas of resistance, like we all have.
Sure.
And so one thing, for me, it's not so much health related because I've become very disciplined and very in tune with my routines and my habits and my health practices because it's a very high priority in my life to practice what I preach.
Sure.
But for me, there's areas of having hard conversations with family members.
Yep.
Telling them things that I know will be hurtful for them.
Sure.
That they need to hear.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always struggled with. And I've gotten better at having those hard conversations because it's really there that you feel so much better. Yeah. Everyone benefits.
Yep.
But it's hard.
It is hard, man.
And so that's one thing I guess I would say is just having hard conversations with people you love. Sure. That will be very hurtful initially.
Sure.
But in the long term, they need to hear it.
Yeah, well, I can relate to you, not only from my family history, but I had my mom on for a 2-part episode and, love her to death. And it was a lot of uncomfortable, difficult conversations, but we were so much better for it. I know it was healing to both of us, and we're really glad that we did. Okay, question number 2. What's one experience you've had that's changed your life?
Transformational breathwork. Really, my first class that I attended as a student. Okay, I had never done this technique before. Mm-hmm. I had done some Wim Hof breathing, some Kundalini yoga, some other types of breathwork modalities. And so I'm at a health conference and I go to all these different symposiums to learn from the experts and scientists. Mm. And there's a breakout session with a class called Transformational Breathwork. And I thought, just going to go there, breathe, it'll be chill, see what happens. Yeah. I go into this class taught by this guy, John Paul Crimmy, great mentor of mine and great guy. And this was, about 3.5 years ago. And it blew my socks off, man. It was more powerful than plant medicine ceremonies I've done. It was more powerful than any type of deep inner work I've ever done. Wow. I let go of so much. There's a puddle around me of tears and sweat. And, it's a similar sentiment of what my students relay to me. Sure. I experienced that firsthand. And that's why I became so passionate about sharing this practice because sometimes when you least expect it, the universe delivers exactly what you need.
Exactly. You just got to be open to it.
Exactly.
Open to receive it.
Yep. And so that's a powerful experience that comes to mind.
Love it. Question number 3. What is one motto or mantra you live by?
Motto or mantra I live by.
I know it's tough to pick one.
Yeah, I know. There's so many good ones. So many good ones. Well, one that we were just talking about that I really believe is a man with this health has 1,000 dreams. A man without it has only one. Yeah. And it's the truth because it doesn't matter how much money you have, how your status in society, your material possessions, none of that matters if you're sick. Yep. If you don't feel well. Yep. And if you're on your deathbed, you can't take any of that with you. Right. And so I believe that really having this priority of what really matters in your life. And I believe time and health are our 2 greatest assets. Yep. And everything else, obviously our relationships, the love we have in our life is really key. Sure. Another one that I thought of as I, went through this is something I say at the end of all my classes. And it's that the only thing you really have in this life is the love that you give and the love that you get. Everything else is just a distraction. The houses, the cars, everything else. All we really have is the love that we receive from others and the love that we put out. Wow. And that's at the end of the day what really counts.
Yeah. That's deep, man. I really appreciate that. I actually, that's touching for me. I received that really well. I got actually a little emotional just hearing that, just trying to put myself into those shoes. So I love that motto. Okay, question number 4. What do you want to be known for when you leave this earth? So think legacy.
I want to be known for changing the way people think about their health. So many of us put our health into other people's hands.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to rely on the doctor to take care of me.
Sure.
I'm going to rely on the medical system to know what's in my best interest. And I'm all about teaching people to take back control.
Yeah.
You can't rely on these external resources. They could be great and they could be great resources, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
You need to take ownership and you need to understand that you are in control, and it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what disease, what ailment you have. The body is capable of miraculous healing. Yeah. And never put your hopes and your outcomes in other people's hands. Mm-hmm. Always know if someone tells you you have an incurable condition or you have this terminal illness, and you believe it, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you refuse to believe that and you really embody the changes, you do the work, but you also embody the notion that I am going to beat this.
Right.
I am going to do this. I started working with a gentleman recently who has ALS, and he's been told by doctor after doctor, it's incurable. There's nothing you can do. And he came to me for help, and I was like, first of all, before we do anything, you need to understand you are going to beat this.
Wow. You
are going to reverse this condition. And whether that ends up happening or not, he needs to instill that in order to have a chance.
Sure.
And so really that's something that I really strongly believe, because so many people give their power away.
Yeah.
They give it away to authorities and to other people and say, what they told me is the truth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be your truth.
Right.
So take back control.
That's beautiful, man. And you're doing it, by the way. You are doing, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
Last and final question for you. What does Ryan admire most about Ryan?
I think my passion.
Yeah.
My passion for all this stuff, man, because it doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning and I'm so grateful and so blessed to be able to do what I love, to be able to lead a life of fulfillment, and to be able to show up in the world and make people's lives better. And that's something that, it took a lot of work to get here. It was a journey. It still is a journey. It's not like I got it all figured out. But I love that I pursued what mattered to me. I didn't pursue the, general education or 9-to-5, corporate lifestyle, which no negativity towards anyone that has. But I just know for me, it was a lot of doubt, a lot of insecurity, a lot of naysayers on my path. And I always just believed that this is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm meant to do. This is really my purpose and the deeper meaning for my life. And pursuing that with the tenacity and determination that I have is something I really, not to be stroking my own ego, but something I really do feel proud as far as the number of lives I've been able to touch.
100%, man. I it's not stroking your ego. It's tooting your horn and beep that thing as loud as you need to, man, because again, you are doing it. A lot of people talk about it and very few actually take action towards it. This leads me actually smoothly into the moment of acknowledgement that I always give to my guest. And, this was actually the first time you and I met in person. We were connected by Mr. Brandon Collinsworth. Shout out to Brandon. And I remember when he was talking about you, he's like, man, this guy is like right up your alley for who you are, where you're trying to go. And I just was so excited to meet you and to get this episode in. And I noticed even the short time that I've been here so far, something that I am really sensitive to is energy. And your energy, Ashley's energy as well, you gave me energy. I mean, it's infectious. You can tell how passionate you are about what you do. And that to me is everything as I go through I'm living out my legacy as we speak. So I want to be around more people like that, so I really want to acknowledge you for just, again, living in your passion, and not being afraid to do it. I love that you said you're not really afraid to do anything. That's like a great answer because we all should live with, saying, what would I do if I know I couldn't fail?
Yeah, it's truth, man.
So, and also want to acknowledge you, your mother's passing, I can't imagine that. I'm not there yet. But for you to be where you are at today, doing what you're doing, helping and saving lives, keeping other people's moms here, grandmas here, future mothers here. This goes without saying, man, but your mom is one hell of a proud mama right now, man. So please receive that well. We need more like you. I just appreciate your time. I appreciate all the information. I'm so excited for everyone to get to know you more, to indulge in the courses and the book and the consultations, etc. My goal is to help people, and I for sure know we did today.
I received that, Justin, and I so appreciate it, man.
Of course,
appreciate the kind words. I don't take that lightly.
No, please.
It really means the world to me. And right back at you, man.
Thank
the work
you.
that you're doing, since we got connected several months ago, I've been keeping a close eye on your stuff, and I absolutely love it. And
Thank you, man.
I'm excited to have you on my show because I know you have so much value to share, and the fact that you're taking time to really put this information out and to really help others is just, it's such a service to the world, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Thanks, man. I'm looking forward to doing your show, and I'm looking forward to do what you guys have already seen here. We're about to get into some breath work, some sauna. We're gonna enjoy a lot of the amenities that you have here, man. So thank you again. Appreciate you, brother. Guys, if this was relatable to you, as again, I'm sure it is, please share it with someone that you know it will help out. Feel free to like, subscribe, and review and all that. But more importantly, just share it with someone that you know could really benefit from something like this. Until next time, thank you.
Amazing, man. Woo.